So, welcome to What's the Scenario with PLRB, live here at the 2024 Claims Conference. I'm Alissha Walkley.
I'm Tim Havler.
And I'm Mike Broad.
And we'll be discussing claims and coverage scenarios relevant to insurance professionals. And so, Tim, what's the scenario?
Two head pastors of a megachurch had a falling out. One pastor left to start his own ministry, but just before he did it, he changed the Facebook password, so only he had the Facebook password. And he had sole possession of 100,000 followers and would not give the password back. The church, the insured, is now filing a theft claim with its first-party insurance company under a ISO BP 000300713. The church wants payment for the equivalent value of 100,000 Facebook followers. Direct payment from the insurance company.
In cash?
In cash.
All right, we'll take it.
This is kind of a strange one.
You know what's even stranger, Tim? If I just got to stop.
All right.
Look at us. We're usually on Zoom, staring at each other over a screen.
I know, this is
Here
much
we
better.
are,
I
sitting
like
on
it in
comfy
person.
chairs, talking.
I know.
This is very
Although
exciting.
normally we're in the same office, but we go in our rooms anyway and
I
look
know.
at each other on Zoom.
Right. So this is
I like
odd.
my space. But it is better face to face. This is a better conversation to be had. And, Facebook, followers, are we still doing that?
We are still doing it. 100,000 Facebook followers in today's day and age is a big deal, especially for the younger generations. I think it would be fair to say that none of us are Gen Z.
No, absolutely not. No.
So, I wonder, would either of you say go on a local community Facebook group, something like this?
Oh, yeah. We have both my hometown has lovely Grove City, Ohio, Grove City Connect. A lot of people get on there. They're smart Alex, have great comments back and forth about Arby's constantly being out of roast beef and where we're going to build a new building in town. So it's awesome, a lot of fun, Tim. Yeah, I love Grove City Connect. Highly recommend it.
I think I'm part of one for my city. I live in Schiller Park, Illinois, and every so often I get the alerts of, did someone steal my bike off the porch? And it's like, that's an interesting, comment for a community page, but I try not to go on Facebook too often.
Yeah. And from the coverage perspective, I think a lot of us are going to have a gut feeling that something feels off about this claim as a first-party insurance claim. But a gut feeling is not a basis for a denial. We need to go through the policy, and it's a useful exercise on this claim to go through the policy and articulate, I don't think there should be coverage for this one, but we should articulate why.
We gotta figure it out though
Yep.
first. So first question I have, Tim, is Facebook followers. How do I know they're not Russian bots made? Are they really true people that go to my church? And what is a Facebook follower? It's kind of a human, but it's not a human. Is it property?
Right, because this is property insurance, so
Right.
that's a good first question. Is
Thank
a
you.
Facebook follower your property? I don't think so, at least not when you say it like that. But there are other ways to talk this claim into existence. We could say, I lost my account. I owned my account. I lost my password. I owned my password, and my password got stolen.
Oh, whoa. You own me just because I follow you on Facebook? Now you own me?
I own my password, and
okay.
only my password. And I'm making a claim for the theft of that password and the associated account.
Gotcha.
So there's a whole brand new area of law called social media law where we're trying to figure this out. So if you have an employee who, say, is tweeting from their employer's account every day, the employee might think they own that account because they built it up. But the employer is going to say, this account's in our name, and we expended our resources to build it up. So then a court's going to decide, okay, who actually owns these social media accounts? I do think it's fair to say that there are some property aspects to this. It's not a trademark, copyright, patent, but there's something there. I don't know what you would call it, maybe misappropriation of business, something or other. Courts can come up with something.
Could it be malicious mischief?
It could be vandalism.
Finally, I get
Could be
malicious
theft or
mischief
vandalism
into one
here,
of these
right,
podcasts
on a
and a
You get
bike.
something.
Yeah, absolutely. But you think of, it took centuries for the courts in England back in the day to come up with what it means to own land, what it means to own animals. So the whole social media thing is new, and they're working on it, but I think there's some property aspects here. There are reasons I don't think this claim is covered, but this is a hurdle I think we can get past.
So are we saying this could be a direct physical loss?
Good question. It's a similar question because it depends on how we talk this claim into existence. If you're going to say I lost my connections with people, that's not a physical loss. But if you're going to say I lost my data, my client list, that was stored somewhere on Facebook's computers, somewhere in the cloud, but it's on a computer somewhere, and that is physical. So, but here's the rub. If we give the benefit of the doubt to the insured and we say, yes, it's a physical loss because it's electronic data, well, now we're in the electronic data portion of the policy. That's a whole different ballgame because it's different causes of loss and it's different valuation. And, Mike, you may or may not remember this, but
Malicious mischief is one of the perils insured under that?
believe it or not, there's a special exclusion in electronic data for manipulation by employees.
Oh.
So I think we're out of luck there on the electronic data coverage.
What about, since it's an employee, what about employee theft?
Employee theft, again, specific exclusion for, wait a minute. Let me mentally run through the policy here. We have a
We've
covered-
stumped the attorney. I think.
You did stump the attorney. Okay, we have employee theft claim. I have the policy language.
Excellent.
Just a second.
Tim always carries policy
Always
information.
have the
You never know
policy
when you
with
might
you.
need it.
Just in case. Right. Employee theft, we pay for loss or damage to money, securities, or other property. Other property, also defined. Other property means tangible property, does not include electronic data.
Oh.
So, good try, but I think we're 0 for 2 now. We might be out of luck on this one.
So why are we, making such a big deal? Isn't this between the two pastors? Like, why are we airing this out now? How, they can't handle that themselves?
Right. You wonder what's going on with the church in this claim, because if they really want their followers back, maybe call the police, maybe get a lawyer, maybe just go to the pastor yourself. You're kind of wondering why they're going to their insurance company for this. Are they looking to get or maybe they're looking for both. They're going after the pastor and they want a quick payout. Of course, you can't do that. You can't get both the property back and the insurance payout. It's the recovered property condition at the end of the policy. You get one or the other. You don't get both. But it's a good question more generally. This happens in theft claims all the time. Like you mentioned before, theft of a bike. So say your neighbor steals your bike. You know where your bike is, you know where to get it, but they're not giving it back. Can you just call up your insurance company and say, I have a theft claim. I have a contract with you that says you'll pay me for the theft of my bike. And the insurance company can say, yeah, but did you call the police? Can you work this out yourself? But they can say, I have a binding contract with you and take you to court and say you need to pay on this. Now, maybe you can convince a judge to put a stay on the proceedings until they work it out, but that's risky, it's expensive, it's litigation. So hopefully you can just work with everyone and see if you can
Everyone
figure
play
this
nice
all
in the
out.
sandbox?
But yeah, and then, you call the police say, well, we got other things to worry about. Do they have to get a lawyer? I don't know.
Well, what could happen is now the insurance company pays for Alicia's bike, and the adjuster, through subrogation potential, could just go over to the neighbors, take it, and say, it's our property now, we paid for it.
Yeah.
Done and
Subrogate,
done.
pay and subrogate. But what about, say this claim was covered. Are you going to pay and then subrogate to get that Facebook account back? That has no value on the market.
Right, but I've got an idea. Since we're dealing with the church and pastors, we could take a Solomon-like approach and divide the followers in half and give each 50,000.
The wise judge, Mike. I like it.
Thank you, thank you.
Always coming up with good solutions.
That's me.
All right, so are there any endorsements that we can speak to this kind of loss?
Not that I've ever seen. You could always draft an endorsement to cover whatever you want, but I've seen ransomware, hacking, data breach, lots of computer stuff. And I like it when the computer coverages are specific and use the vocabulary of computers to talk about what we're covering, as opposed to asking if it's a direct physical loss. Well, who knows on a computer? So you could draft it, and you could use, you could talk about it very specifically and say, we're covering this, we're not covering this. Just not something I've ever seen.
Well, maybe Alissha, in our spare time, we could get together and start crafting endorsements. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like loads of fun. All right, so Tim, what can we take away from this scenario?
To recap, we had a falling out between two pastors at a megachurch. One pastor stole the Facebook account, submitted a claim with their first-party insurer. Probably not going to be any coverage under that standard BP form under either electronic data or employee theft. And in any event, it kind of seems like more of a civil matter between the two pastors as opposed to an insurance issue.
Well, I don't see what the big deal is. All they have to do is just build it back up. That's what I'm thinking.
100,000?
Maybe it could happen.
Okay, well,
Have
I
you
know
seen
that.
Alicia's following?
I was
I
going to
know.
say, if
Hello?
you're Alissha and you're blessed with charm and popularity, it's easy to build
I
100,000
know.
followers. But for
No
this
big
church,
deal.
this took a lot of work. I'm sure they both want
Those
that marketing
100,000
potential.
Parishioners.
Yep.
All right, and Mike, where can adjusters go to learn more about this?
Well, Alissha, you can always go out to your friends at plrb.org, check out all the cool, useful stuff we have. There's coverage questions, there's coverage discussions, there's educational materials, all sorts of fun stuff you can find there. And hey, Alissha, all that stuff that I just mentioned, is there some way that we could put that in our show notes?
Absolutely. You can always find some of the coverage that will cover electronic data, employee dishonesty. That'll be in the show notes of this podcast. And you can also visit, again, www.plrb.org.
All right.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us here at a live recording of PLR, or what's the scenario with PLRB, and thank you.
We'll see you next time. Yay.
The views and opinions expressed in this resource are those of the individual speaker and not necessarily those of the Property and Liability Resource Bureau, its membership, or any organization with which the presenter is employed or affiliated. The information, ideas, and opinions are presented as information only and not as legal advice or offers of representation. Individual policy language and state laws vary, and listeners should rely on guidance from their companies and counsel as appropriate.